Our second realm is called Adventureland, the base of operations for our camera teams in almost every sector of the world. Within Adventureland is a wonder world of nature's own design. For animal creatures, her fabulous plan of life. Here too is a world of unusual people and faraway places.
Happy birthday, Jungle Cruise! Happy anniversary!
I'm an associate show writer. Before that, though, I spent 5 years cruising the tropical rivers of the world aboard the world-famous Jungle Cruise. I was able to do some really cool stuff. Actually, I had the distinct honor of actually working 2 different Jungle Cruises, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we're really pressed for time because we have so much great stuff, so we're going to bring out the other panelists. Now, the Jungle Cruise is a very, very special place. Starting in 1955, it was very different, but it was the Jungle Cruise skippers who really helped form what it is we know today, 60 years later. Do we have any Jungle Cruise skippers in the audience, past or present? Stand up, stand up. These are the people who, for the last 60 years, have carried on the tradition of Walt Disney's favorite boat ride in Adventureland. And like I said before, it was a pretty serious ride. It was based on the True Life Adventure series, but it was the comedy of the skippers that has grown into what it is today. And we're now known for our puns and our really quirky humor. So who better than have a bunch of Jungle Cruise skippers join me on stage? The first one we're going to bring out, like I said, I worked 2 different Jungle Cruises. The guy I'm about to bring out is, he's taught me, he's worked 3. He is now working over at Disneyland, working on some special events. I bring out Skipper Alex, ladies and gentlemen. This person we're going to bring out is a current Jungle Cruise skipper. She is, we call her the Commodore Small. She needs no introduction. This lady knows every single plant there is inside the jungle. And who better than Skipper Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. The Jungle Cruise had its first natural spin-off in Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar. Who's been there? Of course, the skippers have raised their hands. The next guy we're going to bring out, Skipper Brandon, is one of the creative minds behind Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar, and he used to cruise the tropical rivers of the world as well. Now, I'm a huge Jungle Cruise fan. I've always been a big Jungle Cruise fan. I've read every single book, I've watched every single documentary, but in my time on the river, there's been nobody who has taught me more than the core trainer of the world-famous Jungle Cruise. Randy hired in 1978. He's been a Jungle Cruise skipper since 1979. 6 years before I was born. Sorry, Randy. So who better than the living history, the person who has trained all the trainers, who have then trained, his jungle DNA is all over the place. Let's bring out Skipper Randy. We have Jungle Cruises all around the world. We have one in Anaheim, we have one in Magic Kingdom in Florida, we have one in Hong Kong, and we have one in Tokyo. Now, Tokyo just went over a big change that they've gone through, and they really kind of re-envisioned what the Jungle Cruise is, including that, has a wonderful temple scene that uses projection mapping and really brings the whole temple experience to life. And they really wanted to talk about it on a panel. I said, fantastic, we have all these great Jungle Cruise skippers. Who can we bring on from the Jungle Cruise past, now at Imagineering, who worked on this project? And they said, nobody. So they're like, well, how about we give you Brian? All right, so this is actually a perfect opportunity. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. Let's have them sit down. This is we're used to standing when we spiel, but let's have a seat and let's go through and let's teach Brian over here all about the history, 60 years worth of history, the world famous Jungle Cruise. Alex over here did a fantastic job pulling some never before seen stuff. We have some great footage, and hopefully this isn't too big a train wreck. So we have right here, the True Life Adventure series is really where the Jungle Cruise began. Those wonderful nature documentaries. When Adventureland opened up, this attraction, the Jungle River Cruise, was a way to bring guests into that world. You guys can chime in whatever you want, because I'm just going to keep talking.
But, so yeah, the True Life Adventures series actually began in 1948. The first one being Seal Island, which actually won an Academy Award. Among the 14 actually of the True Life Adventure films, 8 of them.
Is that your comment?
Public speaking.
It is a nice question. But so anyway, the Walt began the idea for the Jungle Cruise had an early influence from the TV series, and then the first versions of the Jungle Cruise were actually based on these like travel epilogues. So this is kind of an early rendering of publicity art of what the Jungle Cruise might look like.
Now what's that line right there in the middle, Alex?
So, that's called the equator.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in the earlier drawing, you can actually see specifically these different areas around the globe that would have been touched. So this is really great. If you look up close, it's got specifically like Mexico, the Florida Everglades. Who would have known? So other fun things like that.
Now, the Herb Reitman drawing features what, Alex?
Herb Reitman drawing features. So on the Jungle Cruise, if you actually look up really close, in the really tiny, they actually drew a giant squid.
Now, that's going to take us to our first Disney legend who really contributed to the Jungle Cruise, and that is Harper Goff. I'll let Alex get this one here.
Lots of Harper Goff fans. So yeah, Walt Disney met Harper Goff overseas in London, and then he brought him on to work at the studio. He worked on a few other things in Hollywood, Casablanca a little bit, but Walt's real first assignment for him was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Which he was the art director for that, and around the same time, Walt had him designing the early concepts for Disneyland, which included Main Street. So Harper's hometown is Fort Collins, Colorado, which has a big influence, as well as Marceline, Missouri, on Main Street's original designs. But Harper also was the influence in the original design for the Jungle Cruise. He had mentioned the African Queen film, and that's kind of where the art direction took off for the Jungle Cruise.
Now you can see these original images. What are these from, Alex?
So if you're a D23 member, actually, you get, and the 2015 member gift is actually the Disneyland pitch book that Walt used to help sell the idea of Disneyland to get some of the money. So these are some of the renderings that were actually in part of that portfolio pitch book, kind of outlining what Adventureland might look like.
So a lot of wonderful, wonderful photos. We have one more of the map going around the jungle. Now, Alex did a fantastic job. He does a lot of the Wednesdays with Walt series at Disneyland. If you guys go to those.
Annual pass holders, Disneyland in the crowd.
Yeah, awesome series at the Opera House. So he's actually able to pull us some really neat footage, and we have a couple of short videos we want to share with you guys that really sets up the spirit of the jungle.
Shrubbery, in fact, all the landscaping here has been imported from equatorial regions all over the world.
Getting back to our
This
roots.
tropical theme will be carried out everywhere. It's going to be a long hour. Here at the entrance to Adventureland, you'll find a Tahitian setting and an international dock. Here's a model. From this point, you'll take an excursion trip to nature's secret world. Of course, we don't have an explorer's launch as yet, but we do have our handy Rambler cross country to take us on a drive. First, we'll glide through floating tropical gardens. Then to Central America and South America. Bright colored birds and brighter flowers line the banks on every side.
There you can see some upside down orange trees that are infamous for the jungle's history.
At these tree stumps, we'll swing up through the Caribbean. moving right into the heart of the Everglades.
It's a lot like the Rambler DCA there, Brandon.
I was gonna say we should have drained the river
And from
before
the
I
treetops
walked that
comes
rambler
the
down.
chatter of birds to mix their surprise with wild animals on the banks below. Elephant country.
That's the elephants. Wow, they look really good back then, Alex.
So that's the adventure scene. Here's one of the plastic pachyderms being modeled in our shops.
Wait, they're plastic?
Plastic pachyderms.
Pachyderms.
Listen, Brandon.
Earth is a phony.
Now we're approaching a waterfall on the Nile.
Waterfall.
And the trickle that flows over this bottle will grow to 4,000 gallons.
That's why you don't use your throttle in boat storage. It really clogs up the pump.
Towering above them all, the giraffe. And it's pretty hard to tell him from our mechanical version. To reproduce these animals requires the combined efforts of the finest designers, sculptors, and master mechanics.
That's actually how they operate today. There's a couple
Crossing
guys
Lake
trying to
Victoria,
turn
the
it.
headwaters of the Nile, we turn into one of the tributaries. Pass under a swinging bridge and return to our waterfall.
What's swinging? I know.
And here's the model gives us an idea of how our launch will look as we pass behind it.
We'll get there, don't jump in. Hey, come on. We only have a 5 good jokes. Come on, don't hurt us on that.
Only because we're running the rapids through a narrow gorge.
Gorge of the jungle.
I'll take the clicker from here.
What do we have here, Alex?
You know, it looks a lot like a squid.
Wow.
Behind that lion. That photo is actually from the studio staff shop where, you know, they were the same guys that worked on the squid for 20 Hours in the Sea went to go work on the animals for the Jungle Cruise. So, and then the other photo is actually where the alligators were mocked up was in the same soundstage where they built the film that exact same scene. So that's soundstage 3 at the studio.
Check this out.
Across the studio street, on the tank
See, the
stage,
boat's got a lot bigger
with a
since the
submarine
day.
20,000 leagues under the sea, our monorail system went underwater. To properly control the action of the mechanical alligators and hippos that rise out of the water, we had to time the course and the speed of the boat exactly. If anyone happened to look into the window
guys are
of our
awesome.
staff shop next
Those are
door,
actually rally
they
monkeys.
might well wonder what kind of business we were really in.
That's Chris
Here the
Wheeler, who
mechanical
sculpted the
creatures
squid
for
as
our
well as
Adventureland
the lions and all
jungle
the- a lot of
were being
animals.
given form.
You like that
The
squid, don't
sculptors
you?
and
Yeah, there it is again.
with built our giant squid for 20,000 leagues. We're creating our plastic zoo. Now they've turned their skill to smaller but no less exacting subjects. Many new plastic materials came to our aid in the creation of the jungle
That's how
beast.
rhinos are born.
Near at hand in Costa Mesa, we were working on the Explorer's launches, destined to fly through many tropic waters on our exotic Adventureland voyage. Here, as in many other problems we encountered in building Disneyland, modern plastic materials came to the rescue.
Thank you,
For
Monsanto.
these boats are molded of fiberglass. By using these latest boat building techniques, we were able to make them sturdier and safer than with conventional materials. And upriver from this boat terminal, other workmen were just as busy solving the problem of how to build a rock. Machines is nothing from Mother Nature, but it wasn't so easy for us. This particular rock had its own private architect. It was blueprinted and built with structural steel and cement. Soon it will be a part of the waterfall setting in our Adventureland boat trip.
I made a rock.
Just around the corner, we were working busily at another problem that comes naturally to Mother Nature, but not to us. We were waterproofing a riverbed, so the river wouldn't run away from us. All in all, it was a tough job. And what with the long hours and intensive work, it may be that some of the workmen started to imagine things.
And then it cuts off.
I know, that's why. Zombie hippos, apparently.
Oh, zombie hippos, that's what they do.
We saw the river being blasted with gunite, so it didn't, the water didn't seep through. The Jungle Cruise originally, though, was designed by Harper with he had a guy with a bulldozer, Caterpillar tractor, and he had a stick.
Yeah.
And he had a model for reference, but they kept on backing over the survey markers, so then Walt just said, you know what, just go eyeball it. So we literally walked out there with the bulldozer driver and a stick and drew the Jungle Cruise, said, dig it up and build the banks.
And today we are celebrating the 60th anniversary of a ride designed with a stick. So we have some more construction pictures right here, but we also have another great, really short video.
The orange trees made way for more exotic foliage from other lands.
That tree right there, the big one in the foreground, is actually right outside the Indiana.
The Jungle Ride was one of Disneyland's original projects. And here we are now taking an exploratory cruise.
Ma'am, please sit down.
Sir, if you get up, please.
Cannot proceed with forward motion. We're going to now have talk about Bill Evans, the man behind the jungle. Yeah, this guy built a jungle in the middle of nowhere, and he became world famous for this. After the Jungle Cruise in Disneyland opened, he was able to go to any garden around the world and say, "Hi, I'm Bill Evans," and they go, "Come on in, sir, right over here. Take a look at our flowers." So he was just like that, especially in France with no accent. It was bizarre. So we have some of the plants. Kelly over here, Commodore Small, is going to chat about this.
Step aside, boys. I got this. All right. So the world famous Jungle Cruise is renowned for its world famous plant life. We've brought in different plants from all over the world, and they've found a really neat little home here among all of our animals and all of us animals. So a few of these on the slide here I really want to talk about. One of them is in the family philodendron, which is Greek for love tree, for those of you who are interested in that. But this is a split-leaf philodendron, and this is a really neat plant that we like to have in the jungle. It's also a cousin of one that was named after Bill Evans himself. It's the philodendron Evanzi, for those of you who are playing along at home. I know, right? And then next we have a couple of pictures with some really interesting plants in it. I want to talk briefly about bromeliads. Bromeliads are the really bright, colorful, little cone-shaped plants that you guys see in the slide there. And they're really unique. They have a really wiry, almost non-existent root system. It's just there to kind of latch onto stuff. But they gather their nutrients from the humidity and from the water, and it gathers in their little cones, and that's kind of...
Boy, is it humid in the jungle.
Yeah,
in August.
Those are conveniently latched onto... I'm fine then. How is it?
Sorry.
That's cool. So I'll just talk about it anyway. So those are conveniently latched onto members of the ficus family. We have a lot of different ficus trees and plants, and those are really cool. They're everywhere, but I think the most unique factor about them are the aerial roots. So every tree has a stem or a trunk, and then from that they grow branches. I think we all know this, but the ficus family tend to branch out even further. And if the plant is particularly thirsty, it can just drop a little root down from one of its upper branches. So if you guys are riding the Jungle Cruise in the near future, look out for some aerial roots that are just down, touching the water. They're not growing anywhere. They're not actually connected to anything. They're just there purely to get water. And then if the plant grows too big, if the tree is too large, it'll just drop down another root for support. So if its arm just keeps growing, it'll drop one down so it can continue. I think it's pretty cool. Everyone else is like, let's go, let's go.
This is why the joke is favorite plants and you point. Otherwise it'd be like a 30-minute.
I know. They won't let me take those.
Brian, what's your favorite plant?
I don't have one.
Oh.
It's the backside of water. It's a base. So the ones in this slide, I want to talk about two in particular. There's the one, God, I can't even, is it?
It's that one.
I know, right? But I was trying to look on the, it's that one. That's the African sausage tree, and it's
Actually, that's my favorite.
I got one.
So the African sausage tree is currently growing as you turn away from Schweitzer Falls down the Nile River of Africa, and that's a really unique plant. It has this really large fruit pod that comes down off of it, along with really fragrant, deep red flowers. But skippers, I know you're out there, please do not attempt to eat the fruit. It will kill you. I wanted to throw that.
3 people laugh like that.
Yeah, I would do that.
Deathly fruiter. That's my favorite.
Right. It's point. I left all the other deathly plants out. And then the one that I'm sitting in that's probably my favorite, it's the dragon tree, the dragon's blood tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is. So the sap. Love you guys. All right. The dragon's blood tree is named for its sap. So the sap of this particular plant is red, as you may have guessed. And this tree, it doesn't have rings, so the trunk is built a little bit differently since it is a desert plant. So the inside of the tree are just these really coarse fibers that kind of interlock, that trap in all the water because of deserts. And you can tell how old the tree is instead of counting the rings by counting how many branches that it has. So the one that we have in the jungle is a very young plant. We kind of like them that way. But the red sap is really interesting, really unique. It's been used throughout history in just really weird stuff. So tribal cultures used to use it in medicines or potions. People used to think that it was an aphrodisiac.
Which explains a whole lot about the jungle.
Right. And then the great violinist Stradivari stained that violin with the blood of a dragon tree, which is why it has that really unique red color. The more you know.
All right. Where do you go? We have some more awesome photos from the early days of Disneyland, and another short clip.
Ride actually gets to open.
And now aboard an explorer's
watch this guy in the
launch,
background
we'll
right
meet the
there.
last outpost of civilization. Here is a perennial paradise, a tropical rainforest filled with rare plants and exotic flowers. In this mysterious maze of jungle waterways, the skipper of our boat is a seasoned traveler. He knows all the lore and legend of Adventureland. And so now we'll just watch and listen as he becomes our guide.
This is actually from February after Disneyland opened from Disneyland USA. So that's why, even though the park had just been open, Walt wanted a full, completed show. So that's why the jungle looked that full then.
And look at those costumes, huh? Yeah. So I think this is the second generation costume, the first one being like the white milkman costume.
My question is,
Yes.
what did we do after Labor Day?
I don't know, Randy, what did they do?
Went back to school.
But yeah, take a look at the sandals they're wearing, and the guy wearing the...
Because he's a samurai.
Pretty fantastic.
They're actually just that plate of wood with...
The next guy we want to talk about is the Disney legend Mark Davis. This guy, my little fun trivia, born in my hometown of Bakersfield, California. So don't make fun of us anymore, please. It's easy. And so Mark Davis came in the 60s to wed, and his cast was kind of infused a little bit more humor, some more show scenes into the Jungle Cruise. He had a great background over the studios, creating characters dating back all the way to Bambi, I believe. He created characters like Tinkerbell and Cruella de Vil and Maleficent, and they brought him over here, and you've probably seen his work in Pirates of the Caribbean and all the funny stuff in the Haunted Mansion, but the Jungle Cruise is obviously my favorite of his work. The bathing pool is really neat. The other day was like World Elephant Day, and so everyone was posting on Twitter like, Happy World Elephant Day! And the most common picture that people posted was actually Bertha from the Indian Elephant. And everyone responding, no, that's from Disney's Jungle Cruise, right? But yeah, credit to Blaine Gibson for his sculpting skills based off of Mark Davis's drawings. And we found some really cool stuff for this next elephant right over here. You want to tell us?
Yeah, so everybody's familiar with there's that elephant in the back that's crawling out of the pool. The elephant pool was added in the 60s, early 60s, and around the same time all the folks at WED were actually also working on the 1964 or 65 World's Fair. So one attraction from the fair was Ford's Magic Skyway, and there's an amazing timing similarity in the shaping of these two. That's one of the memories from the attraction.
So from the New York World's Fair. Now the really cool story I like about this one is an interview with Blaine Gibson, who did all the sculpting. He had a fun story, and Walt came into Blaine's studio and said, Blaine, you know what we need? We need an elephant, like climbing out of the rocks. And he's like, I'm not quite sure what you mean, Walt. And so Walt pulled out a chair and did like the Dick Van Dyke thing from Mary Poppins with his pants, and like climbed onto the chair and did the pose. And Blaine Gibson pulled out some clay and did a really quick sculpt of the maquette. So that Walt Disney was the model for that elephant.
Which is awesome, and ultimately a mammoth.
Ultimate mammoth. This is a really great shot. Now, you guys notice anything weird about the color photo with Mark Davis art directing in the field? Is that there's a boat full of guests. Coming soon, folks. Yeah,
We have to come back and see it.
yeah, come back and see it finished. It's going to look great. One of the biggest additions came in the 1960s with the African veldt. Now, we have some really cool footages. I'm sure you guys have seen these ones of Walt before, but there's some wonderful footage that we're going to show a whole panoramic of what this giant addition to the Jungle Cruise looked like. And it's
Another new addition to the Jungle Land Cruise is the African veldt area. Here the animals are gathering around, watching the lions who have just made a kill.
The old Jungle Cruise marquee. A lot of things moved around the river over the years, including some of the monkeys. Bob, the temple idol, has moved around, and a hornbill has moved out of the grass with the crocodiles into the boathouse. In 2005, they added the piranhas, which was a great change from the river rapids. One person likes piranhas. Yeah, it's all right.
Something interesting about when the piranhas and everything was kind of Indiana Jones moving in next door. The Jungle Cruise kind of went from being this candy, those beautiful candy striped boats. It was very modern teaching village to something back in time. So,
the Jungle Cruise is a major success at Disneyland. So it comes time to open up Walt Disney World, the Magic Kingdom. The Jungle Cruise is a must-do. Now, I worked Anaheim and I worked Tokyo, but Alex over here started at Walt Disney World. So he's going to give you the world's quickest abridged history lesson of the Walt Disney World Jungle Cruise.
and go.
Yeah, go.
So here you have a kind of a marketing shot. It was a different boathouse, Mark Davis was the art director on the whole project from scratch for this one. So the whole attraction kind of had a more staged look from the get-go. One of the big additions that we're all familiar with in Florida and now also in Tokyo is the Khmer Temple, which is kind of more of a finale to the attraction. And as opposed to Harper Goff drawing with sticks, the attraction was much more planned out. This is really early on, an aerial shot of the construction of the park. And then, even just like we learned with Disneyland's construction, plants take time to grow. So here you have like the hippo pool, nothing's even gone vertical construction-wise in the park, but you already have trees growing in.
And we had that Rambler in that last video. So fast forward to 1970.
Yeah, the VW boat.
Yeah.
But yeah, here you can see kind of the parks, you see the rockwork, Schweitzer Falls kind of taking shape. Another neat thing about the Florida Jungle Cruise was the opening Amazon scene had this metal vine canopy that kind of wrapped the river to help fill it in. And here you have the bottom right photo, you actually have a plywood mock-up, or a 2x4 mock-up of a boat, so they can make sure the clearances were right.
Sticks. Sticks. 2x4 boat.
But the attraction, another thing Florida obviously had more size, more space to work with. So the African veldt is this massive open area. You can see the animals going in. Some of the other things are still waiting to be put in. But
speaking of animals waiting to be put in, I love this. Now, I thought it was really weird, Alex, that we purchased Siberian tigers and decided to paint them orange. Nope. Okay.
But something interesting is, the coloring of those rocks are bright blue. So the designers took Mark Davis's designs, these wonderful watercolor renderings, to like art. Here you have the boats being built. One of my favorite things is if you're familiar with the Seven Seas Lagoon, the launches being built in the same facility. Those are such cool boats. But anyway, so kind of wrapping up Florida. Another thing was, going back to the space and the size. Here you have the African veldt, you have this endless savanna look, which, things obviously grew over time, and also the Grand Floridian happened to move in nearby, so kind of the foliage eventually filled itself in.
So, thank you. Quickest history of the Walt Disney World. We have two more Jungle Cruises to talk about. The next one's going to be over in Hong Kong. Now, imagine, Hong Kong Disneyland is very, very similar to the Anaheim one, minus the The whole left side of the park, more or less, if you look at a map, is essentially the Jungle Cruise. Imagine the rivers of America as the Jungle Cruise, and then you have the Hong Kong Disneyland. They actually speak 3 different languages there, Mandarin, Cantonese, and English, so each skipper has to know 3 languages. Some of the Anaheim skippers don't know 1, so that's pretty good.
We actually had 3 different queues, too.
Yeah, 3 different queues. Well, they want to play roulette with that. Oh, I got Mandarin.
I did that on Spaceship Earth the other day. I pushed, it gives you the voices. Close your eyes. And I was being, smart aleck, and I was like, I'm going to listen to Mandarin. And I forgot that it then makes the 20 minutes in Mandarin. I thought it was just the things you punch in at the end with, where you want to live. No, don't do that. Don't. Just click English.
Unless you speak Mandarin.
Then, by all means, push Mandarin, but otherwise don't push Mandarin.
So their cruise goes around this huge river, and it has the Tom Sawyer style rafts going back and forth. It goes past Tarzan's treehouse. Wonderful animals along the way. The detail in those are beautiful. But the biggest change is over the finale. At the very end of the Hong Kong Jungle Cruise, it blows your mind. The finale is a huge battle between fire and water gods that take place just off the side. So the fire erupts, volcanoes come out, and then the water rushes away and extinguishes it. Either head out to Hong Kong or just on YouTube. But it's really cool. One of them's much cheaper than the other. But yeah, it's really neat to check it out. It's really neat. The last Jungle Cruise we're talking about today is Tokyo. It's awesome. Tokyo, 1 person.
That's where I come in.
That's where you come in.
I feel so out of place because I'm not a skipper.
It's all right.
And I don't have any puns.
Yet.
So if you guys want to, you can just jump in and throw puns into my presentation. It'd be awesome.
Okay.
Besides being a failed skipper because I crashed the boat into the hippo pool, I am. Yes, I am.
That qualifies you as a successful skipper.
I am an Imagineer, and I spent a couple months in Tokyo last summer helping to refresh the whole ride. And a couple things about the park. They opened in 1983, and it was the first park built outside of the U.S. And we refreshed this attraction for the first time in just over 30 years since it opened. So there's a lot of changes, including a narrative story that we wove through the whole attraction, starting from the very beginning. So as you enter the attraction, just like Jungle Cruises around the world, there's a lot of great props and theming and a bit of storyline building to this complete narrative that takes you on this adventure about being a friend of the jungle. And they even have the skippers there sort of engaging you in the queue with some games and discussion. And when you get on the boat, you're going to be accompanied by 3 spirit animals, an elephant, and a monkey, and a tiger. And just like the Jungle Cruise around the world, there's a great banter and story that the skippers tell you.
And onboard audio.
Onboard audio, that's definitely
soundtrack as you go around the jungles.
And there's a cinematic score that also accompanies the whole ride that really ties the whole story together. So some of the things we do to refresh the ride include, in the hippo pool, we added this really fantastic fog bank. And when you're there in person, it's really amazing because you come around the corner and all you see is trees, water, and a bank of fog, and the boat moves through it, and the whole ride and all of the passengers are fully engulfed in fog until it dissipates and suddenly there's a hippo. So all around you. It's really exciting and kind of moody, I guess you could say. So that was one of the things that was done. And then the other thing that makes this attraction very unique from other Jungle Cruises is the nighttime experience. It is the same ride, but we've added all this amazing nighttime lighting effects, including the fireflies as you first enter the jungle. And as you can see in these images, it's really magical. The hippo bathing pool is another area that has amazing, fantastic lighting that's been done to it. And that's been done throughout the whole ride.
What's that?
The long-nosed hippos.
The long-nosed hippos.
Exactly. Thank you. So as we head into...
Yeah, that's why we had to bring Randy in. He said one thing so far. It was fantastic.
And on the ride, just like in the Magic Kingdom Jungle Cruise, we head into a temple. And what we did to refresh this temple and make it more magical was we used some state-of-the-art visual effects. We did video mapping. what we did was we took the existing set, but as you enter, we create the illusion that it's broken and worn and aged, with the stones out of place and cracks and roots overgrown. And this is a moment where we're hitting that finale of the show. So you enter and your spirit animal awakens and activates the room to transform and become this beautiful, rejuvenated scene.
We have a couple examples of that.
And so here's a few really beautiful photos kind of showing the before and after moments of this effect happening right in front of your eyes. It's very dimensional and very rich, and of course accompanied by a great soundtrack. And I believe there's a video coming up here that you can watch that and see how amazing the animation is that was created. That scene is mostly why I was in Tokyo for a couple months. We move into the finale with the elephant pool, which is a fun celebratory scene, heading into the dock, and the skippers continue the story, sort of wrapping it up by letting everyone know to be a friend of the jungle, and that was a neat way to incorporate a bit of story and I guess a bit of a nod to an ecological type message. And then, you know, it couldn't be done without the help of many Imagineers and lots of hours and days and great technology.
Lots of hard hats.
Lots of hard hats. Computers are very dangerous, so we always wear hard hats and safety vests. They're very different from the computers you normally use at home. And, you know, we have great people. We have people that were doing everything, painting and the detailing and just refreshing the whole ride, and it's really amazing. And if you're ever in Japan and want to go to Tokyo, you have to hit the Jungle Cruise there, and go at daytime and nighttime. So that's my story. Unless you want to go into my stories about being a fisherman out at sea.
Oh, no, it's all right. Yeah, we're short on time, sorry.
Not many people know, but I was in The Deadliest Catch.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, episode 1, season 1.
Oh, great time. Yeah, all right.
They pulled him out in a net.
I know, yeah, she's a wonderful lady. So we have...
Everybody moved that. He didn't say which a net. Like, what?
Since going to Imagineering, one thing I was able to work on, actually kind of bring about, was a holiday overlay that we started a couple years ago called the Jingle Cruise. The Jingle Cruise actually started back when I was a skipper. Actually, even going back further, we've always had jokes inside the script for holidays. They very rarely got used. There was a short time before I joined the Jungle Cruise, one of the skippers made Santa hats for the crew, but they only lasted a couple years because they weren't official. So fast forward to my time working the jungle, I started, submitting a lot of jokes to Kevin Rafferty, who was our show writer at the time. And it turned into email puns back and forth, going on for weeks, giant pun battles. And around the holiday season, it became Christmas pun battle time. That was really fun. And so he's like, all right, let's stop sending these to me until we get you paid for it. And so, by the time I was at Imagineering for about a year, I had some free hours to work on some stuff. So I asked my boss, I'm like, hey, we had this idea a few years back when I was a skipper. Do you mind if I go through and put together a presentation? So she gave me a day to put together a deck, and I really championed it for the next year or so, and we were able to get it open in time. The Jingle Cruise opened up on both the West Coast and the East Coast 2 years ago. It's about to go into its third year, which is really exciting. Some slight differences between the two coasts and how they on over the years. The Anaheim crew did a fantastic job with all the proppings. If anyone did the Adventure Trading Company, well, thank you. Adventure Trading Company was another one of my projects. We did that 2 years ago here at D23, and we did it last August inside Disneyland. If next time you're walking through the tree, the Christmas tree should still have some little juju on top of it as ornaments. Also, one of my favorite details, they put in the plastic tree that was too close to the potbelly stove, so it's all singed and curved and stuff on the inside. The Florida crew, man, they really kicked it up a notch. They were the first ones to do these kind of boat names for the Bertha, the Mistletoe Millie, and the Icicle Irma. The Bertha is actually from a bunch of cans of beans. And so these prop guys, 3 of them, imagine like Central Casting called up, hey, we need 3 prop guys. And it's these guys, they ordered a bunch of cans of beans and they kept eating them until they were sick of beans. And as Brandon pointed out, because he's a props guy, you know, you don't have to—
Just throwing beans away would be too hard.
But, you know, bless their hearts, they decided to muscle through it and eat them in as well.
I think of Blazing Saddles. Sorry, I have to say. I think you've had enough.
So that they use cans of beans for that. If anyone's ever been on the Kilimanjaro safaris, genius move. They took one of the tires, one of the old worn out tires, and they used that for the Mistletoe Millie. And for the Icicle Irma, those are actually 1930s underwear that they bought online.
That I have randomly been missing ever since.
All right.
Yeah, we'll come back. There's that whole slide about that.
Oh.
My vintage underwear collection.
It's good. It's good. So we have, you know, throughout the years, we're able to add more and more props throughout the Jingle Cruise. You know, bells and garland and everything. And we look forward to keeping bringing it up. Now, the Jingle Cruise is really special because you guys, as you came in, you were listening to the Jingle Cruise radio loop with the host, Nigel Greenwater, who actually is here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nigel Greenwater. Yeah, so you know, we were really like gung-ho about this. We found all the WDI skippers we could. And you know, people used to work jungle, now they're Imagineers, and we wanted to record a radio show. So we went inside one of the music room on
There's a little room at WDI that has a little bongo set, a little guitar, and a couple cymbals, and it is a music room, but it's like the quietest room on the campus. So we went in there with an iPad and set it up, and we all got real close to it, and we all just started doing these random, we were just improvising these little spiels, because I was like, we should do something that makes it special rather than just recycling old Christmas music. And we were like, they're not gonna, I'm like, well, it's fine. It sounds bad because it's 30s.
Yeah.
Fine, let them go.
We sent it to the audio department, like, hey guys, we did a radio show. And they're like, oh, that's so cute. Can you guys come in on Tuesday and we'll record this for real? And so,
which was kind of a surprise, because we were just goofing off. Yeah. We didn't think they would actually let us do it.
But yeah, it's really, really cool. All the voices you hear on there, I'm on there, Brandon's on there. We have a couple other former skippers. And then Claire, who is also an Imagineer, never worked jungle, but she does a wonderful shout out to Commodore Small on radio loop. We have
the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me.
We are covered for Christmas for the rest of your life.
Forever.
Yeah, it was all the original jokes. That was us. It was me, Brandon, a few other skippers writing it down. So it really came from the jungle. It was a Jungle Cruise effort that really.
I think my favorite one is the one that you're on, though, because you call in from a deserted island and are begging for help, and Nigel's just, I'm going to play you a song first. Just completely doesn't help you at all. You're gasping for air. You're dying. And it's like, well...
My favorite's the guy stranded at the North Pole, so he just hears teeth chatter.
Yeah. And then he falls into the ice. And...
But what's better than Christmas?
Alcohol?
Right.
And if you can... It is a jungle. Yeah. Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I won't talk about the first slide with the t-shirt fabric, I'll just model for you. This came about, I had only been at WDI about a week, maybe 2 weeks, when the Parks blog announced that they were building a tiki bar. And I printed it out and I took it to my boss and I said, I'm doing this. And he went, who are you? And I was like, I have to do this, I work jungle, I have to prop this bar. And it became a thing, and then I went to a few meetings and luckily got to do it. But for those of you who have been there, obviously know the massive amount of Jungle Cruise and Enchanted Tiki Room references that we have in this location. We just opened up our second at the Grog Grotto in Florida about 4 months ago. Sunday there's a presentation on the Polynesian, and they'll talk more about the Grog Grotto, but this one, I mean, we went as far as when we were designing the t-shirt patterns, we put in Bertha and yes.
Extra loud, Brandon.
Available in the gift shop. No, they're sold out. Never mind. But we put the Tiki Room drummers and all sorts of stuff. And then, you know, one of my favorite pieces in this location in Anaheim is the centerpiece above the bar is actually the mask, not the mask, because no one knew where it was, so I made one. One of my friends, Jeremy Spears over at Feature Animation, does wood carvings, and he carved it out of a solid piece of mahogany for me, and is a perfect replica of the mask that Sam wore in the 60s and earlier times. But I mean, there's so many. This one is very Jungle Cruise heavy. Orlando's a little different with more 20,000 Leagues. We have a squid.
Squid arm.
A giant moving squid, but this one is true in Jungle Cruise with alcohol. But one of the things we do that we started that was really cool is Tom Fitzgerald actually had an idea about doing a Skipper of the Year program at Trader Sam's. So here we have a few of those. Jerry on the left there was our very first Skipper of the Year. This idea, and then when Tom said it, then I kind of ran with it, and then the first photo, and that's why Jerry looks like this, is my mind immediately went to Charles Muntz and Up, that really heroic photo, and I want that on the wall somewhere. So that's Jerry's, and then you were the second Skipper of the Year. And then Jason here is our current. We have a new one, which I have to...
Oh, no, we have a little more.
Well, I know, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Our third Skipper of the Year, our first female Skipper of the Year, so it was like, well, what photo can we do about this? And then, of course, these photos...
I wanted to recreate this photo. That was my life dream, and we made it.
That was from a advertising campaign that they did, of all things, where, you know, who's going to look better than this outfit sitting on the outside of a boat with water buffalo? So we recreated that as best we could for Kelly's...
And there's water buffalo in the back.
There's water buffalo. We went to the same spot. We went to the same...
That's good, right.
Yes.
Well, she can't drive the boat. She's hanging outside.
Yeah.
And the boats face the other way.
Speaking of boats.
Yeah, speaking of boats, here's a photo of Sam in his short boat. We did a series... Really? That's a real funny joke. See, that's why my 8 minutes around the jungle, if you didn't laugh, I was going to pick on you for 8 minutes. It's whatever, it's up to you.
I'm too busy laughing.
We did a series of these all throughout the Enchanted Tiki Bar. We only have a couple in Grog Grotto, where I just thought it would be hilarious to take the Sam animatronic and Photoshop him into photos. And that's what we did. So pretty much any of the photos, it is like the shoulders of Sam. And then some other guys anyway. And then I put in the skulls and that. But there's a ton of these, but it's hilarious because if you really look at all of them, obviously Sam's facial expressions are completely the same. It's not the same direct. It's like the wandering gnome. It's like, what is it? Why is this weird? But they're funny, and there's a bunch of them. And then our next slide kind of is our Sam's from around the world. And then the middle photo there, you can see the mask that Anaheim Sam once wore, but is now adorning the centerpiece above the Enchanted Tiki Bar here in Anaheim, California, open until 2 a.m. tonight for all of you who want to.
So we're actually running really short on time, so we have some personal stories. And if you'd like to hear, you can come see us at the autograph table afterwards. Apparently people want my autograph. Okay.
I want
2
your
people, all right, that's good.
Frank wants it.
Frank wants it. So we're going to plan on telling some stories, but we're actually really short on time. So we can just have some wonderful shots.
You can just
The
see
orange
these
ones are
photos.
orange.
You can just see these
Some of
photos.
Kelly's favorite
and
memories.
Yeah.
Wonder what's happening, right?
Here's some of Brandon's favorite memories.
50th anniversary.
Here's some of Brian's favorite memories.
We have to explain it just a little
They're almost better out of context.
Yeah, you can come up with your own story.
Yeah.
America.
And then Alex and I are some of our favorite members. So one thing we were able to do for today for you guys is we actually got a really cool announcement to make regarding the Jungle Cruise and the future of Jungle. Over at the Magic Kingdom, opening up this winter, we have the Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen opening up. It's going to be a Jungle Cruise restaurant, which is going to be as awesome as it sounds. I've been able to work on the project for it's over a year now, and we're really tying in the whole Jungle Cruise story. We're kind of fleshing it out a little bit more, and take a look at it's going to be inside the old Veranda restaurant. So just as you enter the enter Adventureland on your right-hand side. Like I said, opening up this winter is going to be really fun. All the waiters and waitresses and hosts and cooks and bussers, they're all Jungle Cruise skippers off duty. They're there because the Jungle Navigation Company is just getting really, really popular, and we have to start feeding those hungry guests.
You almost said hungry.
So inside of it, there's going to be 3 different eating rooms you can go inside of. The first one being the mess hall where the skippers used to eat. So we'll have a bulletin board with all the different postings for their softball league and their annual talent
And if you've
show.
ever seen where the skippers eat,
It's a mess.
I'd go to the other 2 rooms.
It's a mess, yeah. We have the family room. The new owner or the new founder of the Jungle Navigation Company at the Magic Kingdom is going to be Albert Falls, the explorer. So he's the founder. But Albert Falls was a member of the famous Disney group C, the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. Harrison Hightower from the Tokyo Tower of Terror, Henry Missick, they're all members of this. The time is now 1938, so unfortunately he has passed away, but his granddaughter, Alberta Falls, is now the owner of the famous Jungle Cruise. And so you're going to see slight tweaks to the Magic Kingdom Jungle Cruise, kind of match that story, but it's going to be really bring it in as one awesome package, and we hope you guys get out there starting this winter. But yeah, the Skipper Canteen coming soon, featuring world famous jungle cuisine. Now, one thing we wanted to do for you guys is something Alex and I were able to do when we went to Tokyo. We call it jungle karaoke. Usually we have about an average of 40 people on a boat, but we have a lot more people here today, so we're like, hey, let's take advantage of that and do like one of the world's biggest jungle cruise spiels. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of do like a pass the mic activity, and we're going to take you guys on a jungle cruise with some awesome skippers and Brian. Now, Brian, I'm sorry, Randy, do you have any tips for Brian? Because you are the trainer in the jungle.
No.
Don't sing. Yeah, don't sing.
Don't sing.
And just go
No problem.
No accents.
Should we stand up for this?
Are we going to stand backwards? Because I feel like we're standing.
Oh yeah, I guess we can kind of turn around. All right, so Randy, you want to kick it off? Or you want me to kick it off?
Go, kick it.
There.
All right, let's do this.
Great.
There's no good jokes at load.
We can't even use that.
Oh, it's right to accents.
10 people got that joke. Are we actually going to do this? Standing foot back?
Yeah, we are. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Please remain seated with your hands, arms, legs, head, shoulders, knees and toes on board at all times. My name is Kevin, and I'll be your skipper for the next 14 days and 6 romantic nights.
We're beginning our adventure here in the rainforest. If you look over your left side, you'll see some butterflies. They have a wingspan that can measure from an amazing 12 inches all the way up to a whopping 1 foot.
If you take a look over to your right, you'll notice all these people that are lined up. This is a very rare breed of animal. They walk around on their hind legs, and the shorter ones in the bright colors are usually poisonous. Kids, little.
It's the children. We're now entering an ancient Cambodian shrine. This was built thousands of years ago by ancient Cambodian Shriners.
The 3 king cobras on the left there. They go out for a bite every few minutes.
I know it's a little foggy in here, guys, but somewhere around here is the backside of water.
Bertha, man, she's wrinkly. Talk about needing to see a pack of dermatologists.
Oh, looks like this one's gonna squirt the boat. Wait for it. No, he's not. No, he's coming back up, I guess. There you go.
We've got ourselves a light camp. We're gonna stop by for just a few moments and no explosions today. Okay. Never mind, never mind. Oh my goodness, look what they did to that camp. Isn't that just terrible? They left the lights on. Minutes turn over. Also, there's a Jeep somewhere there too.
I just pointed to the left in the scene. If you take a look, I never looked at him. I thought it was funnier jumping on the outside. If you take a look on the left of the boat, right over there between those two stalks of bamboo, you will see absolutely nothing.
This one was my favorite.
This is really weird.
Yes.
It's
We're turning down the Nile River.
We've just now turned down the Nile River. It was way too loud.
I'm pretty sure there's a backside of water right there.
On our right-hand side, we have the African bull elephant, the second most feared creature in the jungle. Over there on the left was the most feared, yeah, his mother-in-law.
Here we now approach the great African veldt where the hand of man has never stepped foot. I love that jungle.
Lions protecting that sleeping zebra. That's how they sleep in the wild. On their sides. Surrounded by lions.
Your neck just kind of, just like that.
We're still looking.
Up ahead, eventually, around this rock. Look at that! That is something to see right there. You don't see that every day, folks. That is a lot of rocks on that beach. How about that? That's pretty good.
Whose idea was the microphone?
You know, it actually doesn't work. You don't just.
You can't do it without it. It's weird.
And now probably hitting bang.
Shortest hippo pool ever.
I'm pretty sure we're getting close to the backside.
Look at that. Over here we have the natives. Let me see if I can translate this one for you. Nope.
Now keep an eye on the right side of the boat. Keep a sharp eye out for any ambushes or other dangerous plants.
Oh no, they're attacking.
Up ahead there is a sandstone.
Wait for it. Go, Brian, go!
And here's the backside of water.
Treacherous rapids of Kilimanjaro. We're now leaving the treacherous rapids of Kilimanjaro.
Oh yeah, this is a great fishing spot. The fish here are always biting. Watch out! Those are woman-eating piranhas. That's right, we've trained them.
Over there you have a python sitting in a tree. Hissing. First comes love, then asphyxiation.
Up ahead here, that's my good friend Trader Sam. I was over at Sam's place this afternoon to celebrate his new promotion. Woo! That's right, folks. He is now the head salesman of the jungle.
You know, the other night I was over at Sam's place, and I said, you know, Sam, your wife makes a terrific stew. And he said, yeah, I know, but I am going to miss her.
Any other camel jokes?
We got a whole list of them. Hey, we're back back in black. Not only have we survived World Famous Jungle Cruise, but now honorary skipper Brian, ladies and gentlemen. Thank everybody for joining us today. If you had a good time today, my name is Kevin.
Alex?
Kelly.
Brandon.
Randy.
Ryan.
And if you didn't have a good time today, this has been the animation panel. My name is Skipper John.